And I don't really know if what they did for this girl worked. It seemed to work in the short term. She seemed a lot more happy. She seemed a lot more willing to take risks in life and to do things that she hadn't been willing to do before. But at the same time, she seemed rather addicted to cosmetics and to self-pampering. And yeah, I have to imagine that maybe they've just given her a crutch. But as long as she can put her energies into this magic method for concealing those parts of her body she doesn't like, for making those pieces of evidence disappear, but it gives her a focus, something to do, some moderate feeling of control over it. But that helps her go on, but that helps her feel that it's not pointless. It's not hopeless, but there are things to still like. And they went back 7 months later and tested her and saw, had the change been permanent. And I'd be very interested to see what it would have been like a year later or 2 years later. Would have been a better test, I think, rather than just 7 months. Because I can't help thinking, as long as she still has those regrets buried deep down inside of her heart about what happened to her when she wanted to be a ballet dancer, as long as she keeps looking at those kids' bodies next to hers in that mirror every day of her working life, that sooner or later, all the push-in underwear, all the cosmetics and fashion tips and everything else you want to put into it will not be enough. And that she'll start to notice things that they can't conceal so easily, little signs that show through to the discerning eye, and she'll start to obsess again, she'll start to notice it again, and it will become an issue again, because the regret's still in there, and the reality of her situation hasn't changed, you've just dressed it up differently. She's still a 30-year-old woman with stretch marks and bits that sag and that have bumps. It's just you found a better way of concealing them. And to be blunt with you, I would like to say that's not going to work in real life. That's not going to change someone's world. I hope I'm wrong. I hope she's as happy as Larry. But I don't think I am. Or maybe her regrets were never as deep as she thought they were. Now for me, for the last 5 years, it's like I've been chasing a ghost. Do you know when you go round on Mario Kart or other racing games and they have ghost data where you can see how you did on that course in the past and compare yourself? Well, it's like I've been racing the ghost of my teenage self, my 14, 15, 16-year-old self around the track, intellectually, creatively, socially, in terms of happiness, in terms of opportunity, in terms of potential. The feeling that your potential is or can be achieved, that your potential is or can be great enough for you to achieve the things you care about, that your potential is enough for you to take you where you want to go. It's like I've been racing my own younger ghost for 5 years. Because deep down, buried inside this somewhat abnormal mind, there seems to be a fairly objective memory, at least it seems so to me, of who I used to be and what I used to do. And I do not think that I am winning the race. You know, I used to write stories. When people tried to get me to explain the things that I was dissatisfied with in my life, and particularly how I felt so old when I was only 25 at the time, I think. Back when I was 23, 24, 25, and I had to try and explain it to people, I started writing stories. And I wrote stories about things that happened in my youth, or could have happened in my youth, or the youth of someone very like me. And I wrote an alternate history. I wrote a what if. What if things had gone differently? What if one little opportunity, one little thing had gone differently? To try and explain to people what it was that I missed, what it was that I felt bereft and bereaved of. And it isn't being able to lounge in bed every day, because frankly I'm doing that at the moment and I almost wish I wasn't. I wish I got up earlier, and I wish I had more get up and go, and I wish that so many of the things my father said about me weren't true. But then he doesn't see how depressed I really am. He doesn't want to see how desperate I really am. Because that hurts too much to admit someone you love is in pain. And there's nothing you can do about it. And you can't even understand why. So yes. Time for bed. But you tell me what you think. Are there new things out there waiting for me? And if there are, might there ever be anything there that can help me catch up with my ghost? Answers on the back of a postcard, please.